kids behaved, and we're finding that in a secure issue this doesn't work. So 1, is working. 2, what's not working. 3, what tools or resources can educators, parents, administrators, and so on be looking at? That could be a website like FOSI, FamilyOnlineSafetyInstitute.org. Or it could be something else that's a really high-tech little tracker that you can put on your kids' phones so that they know that you're listening. Okay? And then the last one is, what case studies or stories have you heard of that are good or bad examples? And with that note, if you could put your phone on vibrate, that would be awesome if you get a moment. And I pretty much think that that is everything that I wanted to do. There's been a lot of people that have really helped out here. So if you see anyone, please, there's a lot of helpers. Chewy's going to be of huge help to you today. Also Camille, anything that you ask. And Audra, can you stand up for just one moment? Let's give a round of applause for Audra. She's with Santa Monica College, and they pulled some strings to really give us this venue, to let us do something very forward-thinking, quite frankly. So thank you very much to you for doing it. All right, we're going to jump into this and have some fun. I'm going to start moving, and I think, Jeff, how are we doing? We're good. We're golden. All right. Let me tell you, first of all, why we're hosting this. I'm going to dive into my background real quick. I'm going to give you tactical tips. That's the one thing you're going to leave with today that I can guarantee. You're going to leave with a better understanding of things that you probably haven't thought about in the past. All kinds of little tiny tactical tips you can immediately use on teens and tweens. Today is designed around 8 to 18-year-olds. Now, let me show you a little bit of background about me. Over the last few years, actually several years ago, I started a social media agency for brands. And I developed a technique called light, bright, and polite. And that technique, while I was running social media for a bunch of big brands, I decided if I'm really good at online marketing, I should be able to run for politics. So in Hermosa Beach, California, in 2009, actually in 2008, I started my campaign for city council. It's a rotating mayoralty. You play mayor for 9.5 months. Long story short, I walked and knocked on 3,015 doors. And as I was walking and knocking on 3,015 doors, and here's a picture of me voting for myself in the voting center. As I was knocking on 3,015 doors, people generally had 2 responses. 1, Josh, we like you, you've won us over, but we're going to vote for our neighbor because we only get a couple votes, and we've known him for 20 years. And I was like, that's great, no worries, I'll be back, I'm going to knock on your house again because we're going to get to know each other. I love your vote, but if you don't, that's fine. The second response was, Josh, we like you, we're going to give you one of our 3 votes. This is really cool, we understand your business background, you're committed to the city, cool. There were 2 people, though, that started blogging negatively about me. And all of a sudden I started getting these little Google alerts, back when Google alerts worked really well. And they started to say that this Josh is bad for our city, he's terrible, he's not nice. And they started to make up fake things. And my mom would say I have a pretty good heart. I work really, really hard. I'm very transparent. I'll tell you all of my flaws today. You'll get to see them. I already spilled something on myself this morning. True story. It came out, though. So as I was knocking on doors, I realized these 2 people haven't met me yet. And that's why they're blogging. Let me go win them over. Well, they decided that they didn't want to meet me. They said, no, we'll see you at the debates. We don't want to meet you. We don't want to have coffee with you. I tried again. Hey, I want you to meet with my campaign manager. I've got a whole group of people in their 20s that are grassroots. You're going to love us. We get business. We get social media. We're working hard. We don't have any secrets. We aren't owned by anybody. We're not getting any PAC money. This is us working hard. They did not want to meet me. They wanted to blog about me even worse. So I quickly realized at the age of 30 what it's like to be cyberbullied. And I worked really hard. Now, thank God I was an adult, because I knew to go, wait, out of 3,015 people, over 3,000 really like me. Or even if they don't like me, they say, I respect what you're doing, we're not going to vote for you, but I see what you're doing and this is cool, and they would talk to me. These 2 people set out to hurt my image, hence why I've taken my social media background, developed light, bright, and polite techniques, and now, on the side, I've been blessed to be able to travel the nation and speak to thousands of kids every year to teach them, here's what some bullying looks like. I want to show you how to post in a positive way and win more votes, because that's what I did. I took these negative people, I knew what they were saying, and I was able to, in a public display, as there was a debate, say hi to them, be genuine, and move on and start answering questions. People saw how I treated them. They knew that those people were negative, but I responded in a positive way. Today we're going to talk about that. At the end of the day, I'll show you actual posts. I've gotten really good at winning over colleges and employers and teaching teens and tweens how to do that. And that's why today is a little bit different. I'm going to show you positive ways to use techniques in my first book, Light, Bright, and Polite, to teach kids it's okay to be on social media. Social media is not bad. And a lot of detectives and officers go into schools and say, this is how you get arrested. And kids start to think, well, now I have to be secret about this. No. I'm going to show you how kids can take a group photo, put a special message below, and stand out. In fact, my favorite quote is how you can shine online for colleges and employers. Okay, here's me traveling the nation. Vistage is a large CEO organization in, I would say, 50 to 75 cities nationwide. I get to teach CEOs how to win over customers, and that's really where I've been for the last 5 to 7 years, using high-tech tools and old-school manners. And I'm going to show you my tip real quick, and we're going to dive into some of the apps. First of all, Light. Before every teenager clicks the send or submit button or tween, I remind them nationwide, here's what you need to do. You need to know that you cannot take that send button back once you hit submit. Ask yourself, is this light? Is it positive? Is it fun? Before I tweet, Instagram, Facebook post, or anything else. If it is, check. We're good to go. Next, is this bright? Is this something that is smart? Think before you press that. Is it going to be smart for me to announce that I think I'm going to ace this test and I think I can cheat on it? Because your teacher is going to see it. If it's smart, that means it's bright, check, you're good to go. And last, and this is where it really gets to the heart, is it polite? Is this something I'm proud of, ending up on YouTube, a billboard the next day? Brands resonate with this because they know that one little tiny tweet, journalists would love to pick on them. But kids don't know that in 5 years when they're applying as a junior in the fall to colleges, that everything they said better be polite. Because if they have a 3.5 and another kid has a 3.5, guess what? They're going to pick the kid online that's positive, that looks like they're well-rounded, and doesn't have snarky things to say, even if it is an inside joke. And we show kids, I don't care about your inside jokes. I didn't fly across the country to listen to how cute you are online. I'm here to be your friend and to be tough on you and say that everything that you post is your resume. I don't care about your printed out resume or what you filled out on our application. Colleges of all shapes and sizes are Googling you, both logged in and logged out. We'll talk about that later today. And they're finding stuff. So, is it light, bright, and polite? Check, check, check. And then kids can press send. Once again, social media is good, can be used for good, but these are some of the check boxes we're giving kids. All right, some of the hottest apps. How many of us are working with kids, teens and tweens on a daily basis? Raise your hand. Awesome, very cool. How many of us have had issues with apps or are trying to maybe keep up with them? Awesome. Now, I am not an expert. In fact, today is not about experts talking to you. We are all leading learners up here. It is not easy. As soon as you're an expert, you stop learning. Yep. And I don't think this is an industry where you can say, oh, I'm a woodworker. I know everything about woodworking, and I pretty much know how a saw works, and nothing, wood has not changed. It still grows the same. This isn't woodworking. This is high tech. Something new comes out every week, and we're all scared a little bit. But what I'm about to show you is what I've learned, and we're going to walk through. I've found that some of the parent-teacher larger conferences that we've given in different cities, parents are only afraid because they don't know what the app is. But as soon as they start understanding it, then they ask their kids, hey, walk me through this app. I heard it does this. It's kind of fun. The kid becomes the expert, teaches the parents. The relationship in real life gets a little better because now they're having fun. So first of all, we're going to start with Facebook. Most of us in this room probably have Facebook downloaded on the app, and that's why we start with it. Great way to connect with friends. You get pics and videos and all kinds of neat stuff, right? It is the godfather, if you will, of social media. It's the world's largest network. Now, we're going to talk about later today in the afternoon how Facebook is dying because when kids post, parents comment too much. Little tactical tip on the side. If your kids or teens or tweens ever post, a great way to passively build that relationship is never to comment or like, but rather than to know what to talk about around the dinner table. The reason that Facebook's dying is because grandma is killing it. Parents are on it. Parents are on it, they're posting all their crazy stuff and commenting sometimes on the kids, but grandma jumps on it and doesn't know that all the comments are public, and therefore kids are jumping onto other networks. Twitter being one of the networks they're popping into. Many of us know that Twitter is limited to 140 characters. This small piece of real estate is really where I got my career started, working with some of the world's biggest brands, teaching them in this small real estate, here's reverse ways to get customers to click through and buy and so on. But kids love it because they can quickly talk to people. Their parents aren't on Twitter yet. They're not listening. So if Twitter is mostly text of 140 characters, and Facebook you can go up to 300 to 400 characters before it hits the more button, that little more ... and you can put pics and video. Then we have Instagram, which is also owned by Facebook. And Instagram is a nice square image, as many of us have seen. And it's mostly imagery. You can put a lot of text below it, but there's no links allowed in the text. And Instagram is interesting because you can only post on that network from within that network. There is no API that lets you deploy from other networks. You can connect Facebook to Twitter and Twitter to Facebook and all these cool things, and they connect, and it looks like spam. There's nothing spammy on Instagram now, and that's why kids have jumped over it. It's like, wow, this is cool. It's only on mobile devices, Android and iPhone. You can use it on your iPad too, but it's kind of fun. So now all of a sudden you have imagery and video, you have just text, and now you have text plus some pics. Kind of cool. And there also are some videos on Instagram in 15 seconds. Now we move into Vine. Vine is only video, 6 seconds. Many of us have used it, mostly comedy. And this is where kids get in trouble. They think it's hilarious to shoot a comedic video because they see some of their heroes on there. They get 180 to 200,000 views. And I was in Kansas recently, in a city, Kansas City, a small suburb outside of it. And 2 kids came up to me after this speech. It was my largest speech up until that time. It was about 700 kids at once. And these 2 kids came up, really nice young kids, and they said, hey, we have a problem, and it's kind of a cool problem. Cool, what is it? And their staff had already told me about it. They said, we have 10,000 followers, about 80,000 views on this one Vine that we have. And it's really funny, but we're about to apply to colleges. We want to know, how can we fix this? They made a Vine video about, it's called Following Fat People. It's terrible, and they're in Walmart. And they actually knew the guy that they were following, and they were following him with a musical instrument because they're in the band, and they were playing a theme song while they're walking behind him. Well, they knew the guy, and it was a prank, but it makes the kids look really bad. And 80,000 people were watching it because kids think it's funny to pick on people. And now these kids are having a difficult time because when you Google them, other people have downloaded that Vine video, posted it on YouTube, because it turns out there's people that capture all this content, and they put it on their channel. And those kids are saying, hey, we're in Walmart, we're following fat people, and they do this, right? So these are genuinely good kids, but they did something to get attention, they got a lot of attention. So now they're having a problem. So Vine, very comedic. Kids think it's really funny, they do something really crazy. Only video. Snapchat. How many of us have downloaded Snapchat to test it out? Raise your hand, don't be shy. Okay, Snapchat is both video and pictures, but this is where it gets really interesting. And now we're going into the dark, dark area, unfortunately. Snapchat, you see the little logo, how it's a ghost? It's designed and promised to kids that everything that you send will disappear. It, like a little ghost, will be gone. Well, many of us adults are like, wait, do things really, really disappear? Because we know that forensic FBI can come into our house, and even if we deleted something, they can take that hard drive and do weird things to it. Kids are told it disappears, so they feel really comfortable sending a 7-second to 15-second video to people. And young ladies, especially, who are pressured to get young men's attention, will send inappropriate videos thinking it disappears, and then send another one and send another one, photos and so on. Now there's one little trick that kids know about, and then there's one that 95% of kids don't know about. The trick that kids know about is when someone sends me a video, I can screenshot it by hitting the top button, the bottom button while I'm watching it, and it sends back to the other people, hey, Josh screenshotted your video, so warning, he can now take that and post it on Facebook. But there's something kids don't know that for 99 cents can ruin their whole reputation. And quite frankly has led to cyberbullying and some very, very dangerous things. It's that for another 99 cents, you can download an app that will log into your temporary cache. Before Snapchat gets a hold of this special video file that temporarily is in the cache, it'll grab it, copy it to another area, and you can replay it 1,000 times. You can then post it on Facebook, you can post it on Twitter, Instagram, you can do anything you want. The weird thing is, come on in, welcome. The weird thing is that even though you can download this, it doesn't show that the sender, it doesn't show that the recipient watched it. And so this is what's really getting kids in trouble. They're getting cyberbullied and they had no idea that that person viewed it. And we're teaching kids nationwide, nothing you send online is private. Now Snapchat can be used for a lot of good. There's some kids that have up to 40,000 pictures that they've sent to other kids, and they're having fun, they're being silly. And they get this sense of, I'm allowed to be myself because it's probably going to disappear, and I'll know if they Snapchatted it. And if they keep screen grabbing it, I won't trust them. I'll stop sending it to them. So you can record next, ask.fm. This is anonymous questions. How many of us have run into this with kids and seen how this is working? Something weird happens when kids, or when human beings, are allowed to be anonymous. They're no longer building upon their reputation. We found that they just kind of go crazy. And so I'm going to give you just some broad strokes of suggestions that we found from kids. And I feel very comfortable because I've tested all this with kids. Although all of these are quite good, and Snapchat can be good, can be used for good, Ask.fm, we've never seen anything good come out of it. It is a time suck. It takes them from homework. It takes them from real-life communication with anyone around the dinner table. And it only creates negative behaviors because you don't have a reputation to build on. So now all of a sudden the kids are saying, oh, I hate you. And terrible things, which for some reason makes them feel good temporarily, but it goes nowhere. So we're telling kids, if you find yourself spending a bunch of time, if you want to be a young adult, that will go nowhere. You want to send some fun Snapchats, you want to post on Facebook, and I'll show you later on today, we're going to talk about developing a portfolio, so if a college catches you online, they're proud of what you're doing and your parents, but nothing ends up Ask.fm doing well. Another one that you need to know about, how many of us have run into Kik or WhatsApp? Perfect. WhatsApp being purchased by recently for over $1 billion, phenomenal, with the amount of money that they were purchased for. This is where it gets weird. A long time ago, if you're on the Sprint network or Verizon or any other network, we'll only talk about Sprint today. You could track how many texts your kids are sending. And you can see, oh, they're sending a lot of texts, what's going on? And you can, if you needed to, download or request a copy of all that. With WhatsApp, you've got a lot of Wi-Fi. It works over the Wi-Fi, so you can no longer track anything. And it's designed so you can text people overseas and get away with a whole lot of sending stuff without using your MMS or text message data and stuff like that. So this is one that's quite good, but you just need to know your kids are using it, and it's very difficult to track. Ask.fm being one of the ones on here that I really want you to watch out for. There's a new app that pops up every day, but at any time they're anonymous. There's a one called Yak, Y-A-K. It's kind of blowing up in the Midwest. Unfortunately, when you're anonymous, it doesn't seem to turn out so great. So just know that going forward. Snapchat can be very good. It can be very fun and very positive. All right, my friends, so that was kind of the overview this morning. Any questions before we dive into the panel that we're going to get started in? Any questions? Yes?
Yeah, you said for 99 cents you can get an app on Snapchat. What is that app?
You can get another app that logs into the app. There's probably 5 of them out there now, but most kids don't know about them. If you type in the word Snapchat, it'll come up in the search. Please don't tell kids about that. I mean, it's actually okay to tell kids that you can download it. I have a whole series of slides that scares the crap out of kids because it says, here's my friend, here's my buddy, and here's what he said to me. And it was light, bright, and polite, but look what I did. I downloaded it and I texted it back to him. And I repeated it to the kids. I go, I downloaded it and I texted it to them so that he could watch it over. And they're like, what? And so if you type in the word Snapchat, it'll show you other apps that let you download it. It's like Snap Replay or Snap Download or something like that. Any other questions on these? That was pretty quick. We got through that very fast. Any issues you guys are having with apps or any new apps that you're seeing that are a huge problem right now? Don't be shy with me. Okay, great. Here's what we're going to do next. We're going to take a 2 or 3 minute break. If you need to use the restroom, you're welcome to. I'm going to move those chairs over here. We're going to have our first panel come up. Turn to the next page if you want, and we'll be ready to go. So let's bring our first panel up.